To the Jamaica Selectboard meeting for Monday, July 11th. First thing on the agenda is to call for any additions to the agenda.
Keith is here. I'd like to add Keith as a highway foreman to be on the agenda.
Okay. Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, the second one, item number 2 is to approve the minutes of the June 27th meeting. Have you all read those? And
Yes, I move that we accept them as
motion to
written.
accept the minutes?
I'll second it.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
I
All opposed? All right. Okay, the third agenda item is to approve the timesheets for the...
we have another set of minutes
We do?
that we got, the Jamaica Highway Building Committee.
We have to approve
You
those?
We don't-
approve those.
We don't,
No, we have not
No.
approved
No,
those.
you don't need to.
we don't need to approve those. Those are just there for information that we're having the meetings and that they are,
Okay, one of the reasons why I thought that we needed to approve it is that I was contacted by a member of the committee, that maybe you know about this, that there was some concern about one of the things that were in the minutes was not correct.
Yeah, and I told him that at our next meeting is when he should correct the minutes.
Okay, because I thought that they should get to read these minutes,
Right.
and
They'll
evidently they did.
they'll be able to correct it at their meeting.
Okay,
because they do get, I email them. the
then you'll
minutes.
get the new
They
ones.
get the minutes.
Good, okay, that's great.
Okay. The third item is to approve the timesheets for the town office, listers, highway, and transfer station. Do that later. Number 4 is to sign the select board orders. Can do that later on. Number 5 is the appointment of an authorized representative or representatives for the Vermont Municipal Bond Act.
That's right in there, I think, too. We need to talk on that.
On July 20th is when the bond bank is going to go out to, the bonds are going to be issued. And at that date, Paul Giuliani will be our lawyer who will represent the town at that meeting. What happens is, when that happens, that money will be put into an account for us. That account is managed by 2 people. They're on that piece of paper that Lexa has. Andrew, I think.
Maybe has it.
Yes.
Right. Those 2 people manage our account, that account for us.
Do we have that paper?
Yes,
Oh, where is that paper?
right here.
Oh, okay.
What that is, what those papers are asking for are 2 or more people from our town who will have contact with the bond bank or with these people. My recommendation would be that Terry would be one, being the treasurer. Probably Pam to be the other as the, I guess she's assistant treasurer.
Right.
And then probably one member of the select board, presumably the chair, should probably be on that list.
And if we can have 4, I'd like to add you on there since you've been in touch.
We can do that.
You,
And you can actually have as many as you want. You can have 10, 15, 20, which just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But we can have as many on there as we want. But if that makes sense, probably.
do we need a motion? We need a motion.
Yeah, but let me explain the whole thing how
Yeah,
that
that's
works.
what do they do?
Okay. The first thing that will happen is this money will be put into an account for us. And since we're not going to need the funds until at least April, except maybe a little bit for paying the architect or whatever, we can decide how we want to invest those funds in the meantime. And this gentleman, Andrew, will be the person who we will tell how we want to invest. For example, we could invest in CDs, we could invest in a money market account, not that they get a whole lot of interest, but at least it will get us some interest in the meantime. What will happen is, once we approve this, Terry will make contact with Andrew, give him the forms that will be signed, and then tell him how we want our funds to be invested while we're waiting to use them. And we should talk a little bit about how that might work. For example, we might need some money in April, but we may not need a lot of money in April. We may need more money in July and August and September. So we could either invest in a 6-month CD, a 9-month CD, or we could invest in a combination. We could invest some of it in a 6-month, some of it in a 9-month, some of it in a 12-month, as we see how this money might be needed. Once we're ready to start using it, then it's got to be something more liquid, like a money market fund.
Right.
But
Because we don't want to lock it up.
no. So I don't know if that's something you want Terry to decide on the best way to do it, or do we as a board want to decide how we want that money invested? But anyways, the purpose of these signatures is to, number one, identify who in the town can have contact with these people, and begin to start thinking about how we want to invest the funds.
I think it would be a good idea to have Terry contact Andrew, and then he can give the information needed, and then bring it to the board, and then the board can decide.
Yeah, unfortunately, we need to decide that by the 20th, and our next board meeting isn't until the
24th, yeah.
25th, I think.
So we need to do it then tonight.
Either that, or we could have a special meeting to discuss that.
Or if you want to let just the 4 people that are going to be the representatives
that.
for it, they could decide.
You
And
could
it's up to the
authorize
rest of
that.
the board.
Authorize what now, the whole board?
No, authorize the 4 people who are going to be the signers,
Uh-huh.
not the signers, but the representatives for the bond.
People who can contact the bond bank, who have authority.
And there is information in this document on how you could invest.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
There's some things in here to read, if you would like.
Yeah, actually, those are just examples.
Right.
What will happen is, we'll contact Andrew, and Andrew will give us much more detailed information. There are 3 options in there. One option is to do nothing, one option is to put it in a money market account, and one option is to invest it. We want to pick the invest option in the
Yeah, if we have that money, we might as well earn a little bit,
Right.
even though it'll be just a tiny bit.
Right. We're not paying a whole lot of interest either yet. We don't know what the interest rate is, but it'll probably be around 1 or 2% for that real short-term money. So we're not gonna lose a whole lot in that short term. But from what I understand, after what happened in Britain, the BR exit, whatever they call it, Brexit,
Yeah.
after Brexit, the bond market flattened down quite a bit, and the bond interest rates have come even down even further. And there is no better time. There is no time when the interest rates have been as low as flat as they've been, the long-term money especially. So,
Except that today, I think it reached a new high.
did it go? Oh, you mean the market? Or,
Yeah, the market.
Right.
How was that, what you saw?
That's the equity side, right?
Oh,
But so, anyways, we happen to hit it right at almost the rock bottom.
so good planning, huh?
Yeah.
To the board, would want
So,
the board to decide.
The other thing we need to do is to put into place a plan on how these funds can be spent. And for example, our traditional way of doing things is that the treasurer makes out checks and puts them on a pay order. We don't have to do it that way, but I think we should decide tonight that is the best way perhaps that we want to do things. That, just if the treasurer can't make out a check without it going to a pay order, in which the select board has the opportunity of monitoring how those funds are
It'll
distributed.
be on a separate pay order.
A separate pay order for this project only. But that way, it's, none of the 4 people can requisition money without it going through the pay order process.
And then the whole board will have a chance to see it.
Correct.
Okay. That's good.
And I should tell you one other thing, is that this bond bank is just so good. If you need money, let's say we have a bill for $500,000 we need to pay, tomorrow, we can call the bond bank and the other person on this list, and within 24 hours, they'll have that money into our account. so we don't have to borrow from our own funds to pay it. And then, worry about when this money is coming due. So within 24 hours, we can get any of this money moved into our account to pay a requisition. So it's pretty good.
Would someone like to make a motion on the 4 people we'd like to have on this? Or how many ever?
Before,
There's room for 4.
We can have as many as you want.
I mean,
So one will be our treasurer.
I'll make a motion that the 4 representatives for the bond would be Terry Garland, our treasurer, Pamela Tweedy, our assistant treasurer, Paul Fraser, our chairman, and Lou Bruso.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion about that? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Do I have to do abstentions? Okay.
We probably should authorize the other signature, the other document as well to be signed. I think it's signed by the chair, or we can designate who can sign it on behalf of the,
This one?
Right, we can have the chair sign, well, we'll have to have the assistant chair sign because the chair's gone before. He didn't
Okay.
do that.
Yeah.
we could authorize the assistant chair.
Okay.
What's the name of the document?
It is from the Vermont Municipal Bond Bank, 2016 Series 1 bonds, appointment of authorized representatives.
No, I was looking at the other one. That's the one we just voted on. No.
Right.
No, this is the education tax.
Yeah, this is the one we just voted on, right? here.
Right.
This is the other one.
Oh, I didn't know there was one on that.
Well,
Just get that one.
is there a second one that requires a signature?
The first one.
There was a second one I thought that required a signature.
No,
I didn't
it's
see
just
it
this
here.
one here, and then the signature is on the bottom. Let's do this. No, that's a school,
That's a
that's a
second.
tax.
Okay.
So that would be here.
I don't have my email with me, or my computer with me.
That was the only thing that came with it.
Okay. All right, I guess that's all.
So you don't need to vote on me signing.
No, I guess
Okay.
not.
All right. Number 6 is time for public concerns. Any public concerns tonight? Yes, sir.
My name is Andrew LaValle, and I live on Goodyville Road. It has since opened up with the new bridge, and there are no speed limit signs on that road at all. And there are a lot of family residents that live there full time. And with the paved road over on Memorial Park side, which I know is not your jurisdiction, but the other side is, people barrel down that road, especially coming from that side because it's paved. There's kids that are biking up and down that road to get to Memorial Pond from the Jamaica side. And then there's the GPS that is inappropriately sending people through Goodyville Road to get to the campground. And I think that there needs to be a speed limit sign there. And I don't know if you need to work with South Londonderry to figure out an appropriate speed limit or what, but it really calls for one.
I just looked at our speed limit sign because we have an issue on Meadows Road. I don't have it with me, but we have to go through that ordinance to see if we have a blanket
Yeah, I think
speed limit.
We found that on the dirt roads, isn't it a 35 mile an hour?
That's what
Was
Cool
it Keith?
Pond has.
I thought it was 50.
No,
It's 35?
in this town it is.
Okay. But when Jamaica, Turkey Mountain Road put 25, we had to go through a
We have to go
survey
through,
with the,
right,
Traffic survey,
yeah,
right,
with
so
the
we might have
sheriff's
to,
department. and then-
I'd have to check to see.
That was to get it down to 25.
Yeah.
Right,
Right,
right.
It used to be 50 miles an hour on all roads unless
Yes.
otherwise posted, but I don't know.
Right.
You two could you speak to that,
It's
Keith?
35 now, dirt roads.
Oh, they changed it, you know, because it used to be 50.
Do you know if there's any speed limit signs on our end?
On our end
On
of.
Gooderville- on Gooderville
no,
Road?
There's none. There's none, we could post it for 35, but you'd have to do a traffic study to get it to 25 or something.
I mean, whatever you guys gotta do, but it's
Who would do the traffic study? The sheriff's
The
department?
sheriff's department.
But I know Wyndham Regional also has a traffic counter. I don't know if they can do that for us as well.
Yeah, I think it has to be done by the sheriff's department.
Yeah, I know that's what Turkey Mountain had.
I will look at the ordinance tomorrow and get information from VLTC too. Also, they have the information for us, because I have to do it for the other road.
Is it worth at least posting it for 35 at the moment?
Yeah, there should be a speed limit sign on there.
Wasn't there some issue about posting 35 at River Road? If we did it at River Road, we had to do it somewhere else?
Right, so that's what I have
Oh.
to find, that's what I have to find out, because River Road, there was a request for that too. I don't think is there a sign on River Road?
I think so.
There is a sign on River Road.
The resident who requested it said that there's a
Did you
speed
put that
limit
up
sign.
recently?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just double check tomorrow.
Okay.
I think it's also appropriate to note that that's the route that A-Keep Sports sends off mountain bikers. So
Right, I know
keeping
that.
it low is a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, someone mentioned that Toll Pond is posted for 35. I've been working out there, and you can't go 35 on a good part of that road. I don't think. So, I
Should
mean,
we
not
ask
that has
him?
anything to do with it,
Well,
but
let me check with VLTC to make sure that we can put that without having to go
Okay.
through any
If we can, then maybe we should ask Keith to order some
because
35.
because I want to do it for the other road too. So I'll take care of those two roads tomorrow.
I don't know what to tell you about the town of Londonderry or South Londonderry.
I don't really, I don't expect any answer from you guys because I know it's not your jurisdiction. But I think just having anything posted would be helpful at anything.
Okay?
Well, there's some point where the towns connect. So
He
we
is the
can
bridge.
post it up to that point.
Right.
Right, it's just after the bridge
Yeah.
on the other side.
If you do order, why don't you order two, one for each end?
I think we have some.
Oh, do we have some? Oh, okay.
Thank
We
you.
might need
Thank
three,
you.
so.
That's good.
Anyone else? Got any public concerns? All right, how about we have Keith up?
Let's,
Did you want Keith to, is it time for him to give his report, or?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if, I think Keith likes to sit back.
Oh, no, I'm just saying. It's all yours, Keith.
I tried to get him up here once he didn't come. What have you been working on?
Recently we rented a wheel excavator. So we've been using that for the past month because we rented it for a month.
Right.
It's pretty much, it's gotten used every day up until today. And that rental's due at the end of this week as far as purchase or not purchase. And I'm gonna see the guy tomorrow. It's worked good for us. You can ditch really quickly. It'd be a really good tool to have.
Have you been pleased with it?
Excuse me?
Have you been pleased with it?
Yeah.
And it's powerful enough to,
Oh yeah, totally.
to do what we need to do?
I mean, we're still learning. There's a lot of electronics that weren't in 10 years ago. So Donnie got it. He had it all down, but now Donnie's not doing it
Talk
for a
about
little
that.
while. So we're gonna relearn tomorrow when the guy comes. And I think we're gonna start using it again tomorrow afternoon. But we're gonna have to pick our battles for the next 6 or 8 weeks as far as what we do. It might not work as much as people might like to see it work, just because there's 2 of us at this point, and we're getting back to the time where we're gonna have to start scraping roads again. So I think it's gonna be idle, off and on, throughout the next month or 6 weeks. Just because there's not enough of us.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. So I guess what Keith is saying is we gotta make a decision on whether we're gonna return it or buy it.
Do we want to do that now, or?
Yeah, I think we should do that.
I'll just say that I was working on Barbara Jane Lane, and Donnie was working up there, and he just thought it was the greatest thing. And he did a pretty big piece while I was there compared to what we would have done with the old equipment.
Right.
And he was pleased with it.
It's pretty quick, and you can do a nice, neat job. You know, it's not a club.
Right.
It's fairly precision for as precision as something like that can be.
Are you pleased with it?
Yeah, I
yourself?
mean, I haven't got a chance to run it a lot because
Uh-huh.
we had it for the first week and then I was going on vacation for a couple weeks, but it works really good. It travels well. It's comfortable, so a person could sit in it, you know, all day without, you know, dying of heat stroke and whatever. It works good. I think it's the tool we're looking for, you know, to do what we want to do long term.
The one thing it doesn't do, Keith said, that we'd like to see it do better is crunch the compactor or the boxes of the dump.
Oh, really?
It's because it's got a higher
Uh-huh.
boom.
Yeah, it's hard to get underneath the roof.
So as long as we have our old backhoe.
Yeah, right,
working-
because that's what I thought you guys were, although the backhoe's been down, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's back now.
Yeah. Oh, it's back now?
Yeah, we
Okay.
got the fence
That's good.
piston.
Yeah, because that's been important for us to have you go in there and crunch.
Yeah, so if the backhoe does go down for good, we could be
In a
looking
little bit.
for another way of.
We'll just have to go and stamp on it. I guess.
I mean, I suppose you could always do it from the ground, you know? And that gets you away from the roof. It's just you can't see what you're
Yeah,
pounding, you
yeah.
know?
Huh.
So I guess we'd need a motion to purchase or continue leasing that.
Are we leasing it or buying?
We leased it for a while.
We rented it for 4 weeks
Yeah,
to see
right.
if it was gonna do the job.
Right, and now we're at the
end
point
of
of
it.
making the decision to buy or not to buy.
Right,
And Lou, wasn't the rental of the 4 weeks, that goes to the purchase price?
yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, I would move, given the fact that Keith likes it, I would move
Yeah.
that we actually purchase it. I think Terry's already talked to them about the options, the finance options. I think we're gonna do it with a 0% financing or a 1% financing for 3 years.
Mhm. And I know we looked at the funding as a possibility, we do have that ability to buy it, so.
Right. But the reason we're leasing it, or for 3 years, or we're gonna do it on a 3-year plan, even though we have the money in the equipment fund to do it, we're still borrowing from the equipment fund to pay FEMA stuff. So we don't wanna stretch that borrowing ability too far. So that the idea was to continue to get the 0% financing, so that we can keep our reserve funds as high as we need to borrow money from FEMA.
I think we need a second if we're gonna keep discussing this.
I'll second it.
Is there any more discussion? All those in favor of,
Is there a warranty on this thing? Manufacturer's warranty?
3 years.
Yeah, it's a new machine.
all those in favor of purchasing the, what are you calling it?
Wheeled excavator.
The wheeled excavator, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that passes.
Okay.
Anything else, Keith?
What else have you been, have the guys been doing?
The last 3 weeks, that's all it's been. It's just been using the machine and ditching. They had to chase around some washouts, I guess. It rained
Yeah,
a couple
you know,
weeks
Turkey
ago.
Mountain Road has a new groove
Yeah.
in it.
So we're chasing some of those and trying to keep the machine working. So
What are your plans in the next few weeks?
we're gonna have to start to scrape again. So
Have all the roads been scraped once? Or twice now?
Yeah, everything's had the spring scrape and then another one, and now we have to go around and do it one more time, before, we'll scrape again in the fall,
Are they doing any of the cutting of the sides this year, or?
but. Yeah, that's coming up, but the guys, he's been contracted, but I haven't,
Right.
I didn't get a hold of him today, I called him just to try and get, a day, he was coming, but I have cell numbers, so I didn't get a hold of him. But I knew he had to do Townsend before he did us.
Mhm.
And I think Townsend was starting roughly about now. He said it took him like a week or something.
Mm.
So I'll get in touch with him and know fairly soon.
That'd be something, I don't know if you want to put on the website, just to let people know that there's mowing and to be careful and drive slowly. So when you know the day,
Yeah,
Speaking of website, Joel was saying,
Yeah, your website was down and said
Yeah.
you exceeded some usage or something like that.
yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that we had a maximum number of usage. We had the same issue with the Historic Foundation website.
Yeah, it's still down.
Yeah, it was gonna be down for the rest of the day until tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
And your internet here is down.
Right now?
Yeah.
We were just upstairs and it was working.
Yeah, weird.
Well, I'm not saying it.
I'm not gonna be around tomorrow, but maybe Wednesday we'll call SiteGround and find out what the reason why, whether we have to pay more money in order to get more hits.
Huh.
Or something, because I didn't know that there was a restriction on that.
yeah.
Yeah, I went on the thing and there was a button to upgrade, but I didn't click it. I didn't go that far, I don't know what it would entail, but that's your there.
So it was pertaining to the number of inquiries and hits?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know why we're getting so many hits on that
I
website.
know.
Anyways, that's interesting to know. I knew we had it on the Historic Foundation website, but I didn't know we had that same problem on the JamaicaVermont.org.
Okay.
As you know, we have a situation where we're down a guy for 6 weeks. Do you want to discuss that now, or do you want to wait and discuss it at the end of the meeting?
You can do it now, because,
Okay.
or,
Some of it we may want to discuss in executive session, but
you can just update.
Yeah.
we can talk about it. As most of you know, I don't know how many of the public know, one of our road crew members, Donnie, got into an accident over the weekend and is going to be out of work for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
And fortunately, he's doing okay. So, from the standpoint of his, issues of whether he's got a life problem, no, everything's good. He does have a broken hand,
No, thumb, just.
broken thumb, and he's got a cracked or broken vertebrae.
I'm not sure, he didn't really say, he said a fourth vertebrae, but he didn't say if it was fractured.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much
I
about
don't
his
know,
health issue,
right.
but those kinds of
He
things.
came in today and he was hurting, but he's looking forward to getting better and having some physical therapy and whatnot and coming back to work.
My first question to Keith was, do you need some temporary help during this time, or can we work with just the two? So I'll pose that question again to Keith.
I don't think we do. I think over the next month, it'll take Richard 9 months to get through the town scraping. And then we can get back to the ditching part.
Now, the scraping is a two-man operation?
Yeah, typically, somebody has to haul a little gravel generally, and someone scrapes, and then the guy who was hauling the gravel goes and gets the rake and finishes a road, or you move to another one. And, so it's not a 3-guy thing, unless there's a lot of gravel to haul.
So it looks like our new wheeled excavator is gonna be sitting idle, because that was what Donnie was doing. The ditching. I guess the plan for the next few weeks was to have Keith and Richard working on the grading and Donnie working on the ditching, so Keith and Richie will continue with the grade, unless you think we ought to hire somebody to do the ditching, but.
I think that's up to Keith to see, he should know if he needs extra help. You can always have somebody come in, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, if we got really pressed for help, we could use one of our filling people
Okay.
for the winter, you know? They could come in for a day or two, and we could just do it that way.
At the end of the meeting, I'd like to go into executive session and discuss this a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind waiting around for a little bit for that.
Okay.
All right.
Because I want to go into executive session also on a personal issue.
Okay.
Are there, that's it for public concerns. Should we go around now, or
Sure.
you have anything else, Lou?
The only thing I wanted to mention was that Mike Record was in town today, and he put a kerf in the sidewalk in front of Andy Avery's house, and the sidewalk did indeed go down to its other normal position, although it's got a little bit of about a 1
It's
inch.
a quarter of an inch.
Quarter of an inch.
So I walk down to it, it's like a quarter of an
That
inch.
it's flattened out
Just
even
pick your
more.
feet up when you walk over that section.
Yeah, well, anyways, I've asked Keith to take the grader down, and, because Mike backed up his truck on it 4 or 5 or 6 times, and it went down a little bit more and a little bit more. So I'm gonna ask Keith to take the grader down, or the loader down, and either drive over it if it looks like it needs more driving, or maybe take the bucket and push down that one that's about now a quarter of an inch or
It's
half
just a
an inch.
quarter of an inch.
Just to see if we could level it out, because we don't want to have a trip hazard. But,
Just save the guy who was trying to get out.
pardon me? Oh, yeah, we made sure we didn't hurt him.
That was great, wasn't it?
We buried him.
But, so anyways, that appears to be at least under control for the moment. What Mike said is he wants to make sure that next spring, the thing doesn't start heaving again because of anything underneath that might be coming up, but I don't think that's gonna happen. What we're gonna let it kind of settle out for a little while, and then we're gonna get Charlie Record in to put an expansion joint in. That's got, now it's a 1 inch gap.
Right.
And what we wanna do is to put the, he had a name for it, but put a real expansion joint in, like other joints are, so that it covers that 1 inch gap. But we'll let the thing settle for a little while first before we do that. And then I think there's a little bit of chipping that happened, that's a little patching that might be done.
All right.
That's it.
How about you, Judy?
Last meeting we had, one of the public concerns that came up was concerning the leasing of the town hall and the requirement of having people who are leasing it present a certificate of liability insurance. And so we had a discussion back and forth, and at that time, Pam had said that she would call VLCT to find out if there was another way. I had presented it several weeks before, and the board had voted to go ahead and require that as part of the rental agreement. So, Pam, would you in order for transparency, would you let the town people know what you found out?
Yeah, the woman at VLCT basically said that it was a strong recommendation, like you said, for towns to require this insurance, but it was not required. But that the insurance that we have covers the property if something were to happen to the property, but if somebody were to hurt themselves at the building and it was not a municipal function, that claim would go against our claim experience, and the more money in those kinds of claims we have, obviously the more we pay. So then you're paying a higher rate for something that wasn't even having to do with the municipality, which I guess some towns are taking that risk and saying that, okay, it might happen, it might not. I asked her if it could just be written into the agreement that you sign when you rent the town hall to have, like a hold harmless. If something were to happen, the town's not held responsible. And she said you could do that, but a lot of times if someone is gonna take you to court, it's not gonna hold up.
It's not gonna hold up.
And basically that was it. It was just a matter of it's up to the select board and to come up with this policy, and that's the policy that our select board came up with. I think it's unfortunate that people don't really notice what's happening till after it's happened. It would have been nice if everybody, was here on the day that the policy was voted on instead of afterwards, but that's the information I got.
Actually, David Mink was aware of that, and
Yes.
he was the head of the Arts Council.
Right.
So there was,
No, I didn't
some
say
knowledge.
nobody, I was just the one
Right.
person who was clearly the most concerned was not
Yeah.
present at the time. It's just the way that,
So it wasn't
It
done
works.
in any kind of
it's nobody's fault.
secret way.
No, I'm not saying it's
No,
anyone's
it's
fault,
there.
that's just the way it ends up
We
working
talked
most of the
about it.
It
time.
was there in the minutes, and I told her
Yeah.
what page and how to find it.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it was,
Does it get rented out often for non-municipality?
It has, yep, the people have concerts, people have birthday parties, there's the Pikes Falls Chamber Music event for 2 weeks in the summer.
yeah, actually, this Saturday, there's a musical program that's planned.
Yeah.
So, and actually residents can also rent it out for birthday parties or weddings or whatever. So it is open for the public to use it.
But they have to have an insurance,
Yeah, and the way, if you have a homeowner's policy, one of the ways in which that insurance can be covered is through your homeowner's policy, and that you just pass into the town a certificate from your insurance company. That's one way. And then the second way is you can go to an insurance company. VLCT actually has made connection. Those are our insurers. The VLCT is our insurance company for the town of Jamaica. And what they have done for these kinds of public buildings is they have contacted an insurance called Tulip, that's the anachronism for the name of the company. And they will assist the person getting an insurance waiver or a certificate that they're covered and can do it. And I think it's something like $77 for an event is the cost of the insurance. But what it does is it covers the town. It
right,
protects us from any liability, and also then protects the people who are using
right.
the building for any kind of liability. So I just wanted for us to know, I also had called VLCT again to say, hey, is there any other way that we don't know? So what you learned is exactly what I learned again from them. The second thing I have is the transfer station, and I'm working on a couple of projects for some new things that I would like to see instituted in the transfer station, but I'm not ready to present that to the board, and as soon as that's done, I'll do that, okay? And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you too, Pam.
Nothing.
Nothing. I don't either.
I'd like to request that we go into executive session for personnel issue.
Can we deal with it, Don?
Oh, you want to?
Well, because Keith is here, I'd like to
Oh.
give Keith the opportunity of going home.
Okay,
Let's
so,
deal with that one first.
sure. Yep, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so your motion can still handle.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any discussion about that? All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And we won't come back out, no. Thank